In this video, we will discuss the p-value method for hypothesis testing. The p-value, or probability value, is the probability of getting a sample statistic such as the sample mean, or a more extreme sample statistic in the direction of the alternative hypothesis when the null hypothesis is true. The decision rule when using a p-value is: if the p-value is less than or equal to alpha, reject the null hypothesis. And if the p-value is greater than alpha, do not reject the null hypothesis. The procedure table. Solving hypothesis testing problems, p-value method. First, state the hypothesis and identify the claim. Then compute the test value, find the p-value, make the decision, and summarize the results. This is basically the same sort of thing as we've been doing so far. So for example, a researcher claims that the average wind speed in a certain city is 8 miles per hour. A sample of 32 days has an average wind speed of 8.2 miles per hour. The standard deviation of the population is 0.6 miles per hour. At alpha equals 0.05, is there enough evidence to reject the claim? So, step one, we state our hypotheses and claim. So the null hypothesis is that the mean is 8 miles per hour, which is also the claim. And the alternative hypothesis is that the mean is not 8 miles per hour. It's something else. We calculate our z-score, that's 8.2 minus 8 over 0.6 divided by the square root of 32, which is 1.89. And we find the p-value. Per table E, the corresponding area for z equals 1.89 is 0.9706. We subtract this from 1 to get 0.0294. Since this is a two-tailed test, the area of 0.0294 must be doubled to get the p-value, which is 0.0588. Now, remember that if the p-value is greater than alpha, we will not reject the null hypothesis. In this case, the p-value is 0.0588, and alpha is 0.05, so we decide not to reject the null hypothesis. There's not enough evidence to reject the claim that the average wind speed is 8 miles per hour. There's a decision rule when using a p-value, and we already went over that. That's if the p-value is less than or equal to alpha, reject the null hypothesis. If it's greater than alpha, do not reject the null hypothesis. And we've got some guidelines for p-values. If the p-value is less than or equal to 0.01, we reject the null hypothesis. The difference is highly significant. If the p-value is greater than 0.01, but the p-value is less than or equal to 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis, and the difference is significant. If the p-value is greater than 0.05, but less than or equal to 0.10, we consider the consequences of type 1 error before rejecting the null hypothesis. And if the p-value is greater than 0.10, we do not reject the null hypothesis. The difference is not significant.